Take flight, dog! We're talking New York Jets. We're proud to rep our team. We say it loud with our chest, with news and facts. Our takes are stacked, while our rants and bold opinions are supported by facts.
It is time. It is time to take flight. So get ready for takeoff. It is your boy, James Wudi. You already know what it is. We are rocking everywhere. And over here, over there, my bad, is the queen of the rants herself. Abby is in the building. She is ready to take flight. Come on now. And hey, we got our boy Michael. All right, he is still part of the trio. Don't get it twisted. All right, but we wishing him well right now. He was not able to make it. Even Abby right now just fighting through, the germs, the temperatures, this and that. But she's out here, and we're doing our best to provide for you the content that you deserve. Because in less than 23 hours, it will be a madhouse. NFL free agency, the legal tampering period begins. So there will be a lot of players up for grabs, a lot of holes. Every team in the NFL is trying to fill, and only a finite amount of resources of players to be able to fill those holes. So it will be, gangbusters to try to fill up those holes, make those signings, talk to those players. And, in preparation of that, we got some things cooking, all right? We got some positions worth looking at. We got some players worth looking at. And we got the debut of a new game. Beep, beep. We call it Traffic Jam, all right? We're going to learn a little bit more about it, obviously, because we're going to play it later in the episode. But it is the debut of a great game, a game that you will see played time and time again on this show. It's super fun. I had to go to Walgreens to prepare for it. And, that's a teaser I'll leave you with for right now. But, Abs, talk to us. How you feeling in general? How you feeling about free agency? Talk to us.
Damn, that intro alone made me more excited about free agency. Shit. No, I'm excited. Obviously, like the Jets are going to be very active given that they have so much money to spend in this offseason. And then, of course, a lot of other teams have already been making changes. We saw the news with Crosby the other day. Big news for the Ravens. Poor Joe Burrow. I've seen those memes too. Poor Joe Burrow's out there. Wait, that O-line is going to have a tough time, I should say. But no, it's a good time of year. Obviously, I feel like this is our time of year as a Jets fan. I mean, coming off of a 3-win season, we know that we need to make a lot of improvements, specifically a lot to this defense. And there's a lot of good defensive free agents that are available. There's a lot of good defensive players available in the draft as well. So I'm excited. We're going to get into it.
We definitely about to get it popping. I agree. The defensive, both free agency and even moving forward to the draft, it's looking like the defensive side has, a little bit more, juice, to squeeze in the offense. But, we got a situation to fix on both sides of the ball, multiple situations to fix on both sides of the ball. Let's talk about that, right? We're talking about the top 5 positions to fill, or that you want filled specifically via free agency, right? Like, okay, we need to bring in a veteran or an existing player into this room because this room stinks, or whatever reason. We'll go 5 5 up to 1, right? Like, my fifth, your fifth, my fifth, your fifth. And I'll start with my fifth. And this might be low to some people. But my fifth is safety. Right? Clearly, we need a safety. Like, that's one of the biggest holes. Like, if we're talking holes in general, it probably is higher. But when I talk about free agency, like, I just love the idea. I think we all like Malachi Moore. We don't want anything, like, we don't want to get rid of him or nothing. I think he had a solid rookie season. I was looking at Dylan Thieneman's, combine performance, and I'm just like, damn. Like, if he's available at 16, which before the combine, we thought, we could get him at 44. But now after his combine, 16, and I think that's worth it. The last time the Jets had two young safeties at the same time, it was Jamal Adams and Marcus May, and they were cooking. Best safety duo in the league. Jamal himself was a all-pro multiple times. I mean, it's been terrible since. I personally did like, the Jordan Whitehead years, but a lot of people didn't. So, I'm not going to sit here and, pound the table for Jordan Whitehead. Pretty much after that duo, it has been dead. And right now, I like the idea of pairing Malachi Moore with a young cat like Thieneman, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. So that's why, from a free agency standpoint, I wouldn't say it's the highest. But, of course, when you have a daycare like that, two little children running around, it's nice to have a veteran in the room to be like, hey, boys, and wrangle them together. So safety comes in number 5 on the James Wudi list.
You know what? For once in a blue moon, I actually agree with you. And safety was my number 5 as well. I just feel like it was more like we could have someone with more depth at that position, if that makes sense. It was more like, okay, we could have some more support or like more of a backup, in my opinion. So I obviously agree with every single point that you made, but I don't know if I have that much to add, but yeah, safety, I have it as 5 as well.
Nice. No, hey, it would be crazy.
Rare occurrence.
Number 4. I just talked about how Thieneman, he was supposed to be later, then he jumped up. I would say probably the biggest jump up of the combine was this guy, Sonny Styles. My God. He had one of the greatest tests of all time, meaning that he is no longer an option at 16. Right now, they're saying he's going to the Giants at 5, which now means that the linebacker position, that might have to be looked at via free agency, and there are plenty of options actually in the free agent pool. So linebacker comes in at number 4 for me.
Okay, now that's where we're going to disagree a little. So at number 4, I actually have a cornerback, and that's simply because I am so blanking on his name right now.
Brandon Stevens?
There we go. Yeah. I'm sorry. We watched him play last year. I watched him get cooked a lot last year, and he needs help. That bro needs help. And I don't really like who else is on our roster right now. I mean, AZ Thomas, obviously up and coming. I think it's going to take some more time. And especially, too, a lot of people don't mention or forget that we just added a whole new staff to this roster as well. And so some of these youngins that we brought in, they're now going to have to undergo another change because of the coaching staff that we just brought in. I know we have guys like Stiggers. He's been playing more like special teams and whatnot. But I actually that's why I have corner at number 4 there.
Total respect. There's no way. And people be trying to tell me Stevens is not a CB1, man. He's not a CB1. He get absolutely fried. That was the very first thought I had when I seen the Bills pick up DJ Moore. I said, bro, 2 times a year, he is cooking Brandon Stevens. Unless they make a move for a cornerback. So yeah, that's a good choice. I like AZ. Brownlee's cool, but those guys aren't CB1s. Right? We have, a whole bunch of twos.
That's
and
what I'm
threes
saying.
in the
We
one.
don't have a true CB1. And those guys we're still working through the kinks with some of the people that we just brought in. So I just want maybe like someone who's more of a veteran presence would be better in that position there.
Yeah, like maybe
To balance everything out.
someone like a Sauce Gardner. Oh
no.
Yeah.
Don't remind me, traumatic times.
Yo, for real. Number 3. This is one where like we clearly have like we're losing 2 people at this position, and I hope that at least one of them is being brought back. But it is worth noting, I think it's a big conversation because it's such a big position. They say games are won and lost in the trenches. So I need that offensive guard situation figured out as soon as possible. AVT, right, and John Simpson are the 2 guys that are now free agents. I just read a report actually before we got in here that the Jets are super comfortable letting AVT, John Simpson, Quincy Williams, and Nick Folk test the market before reaching out to them. To me, that's kind of reckless. Like if it's really important to bring them back, Quincy, I understand. Like I don't think they want to bring him back, but for the guard position, that is something I do not want to draft a guard. So they got to figure this out in free agency. Whether it's AVT, whether it's John Simpson, or whether it's someone completely different. There are a lot of options actually for interior offensive line. So they got to figure it out. I don't want like a young kid. We have so many young kids, right? Membu, Olu, all the Oos are in
the Oos on the O line.
Yeah, you're about to call it the O line. They all in diapers right now. We need one, dude like on the line that's like a grown man, and that would be, AVT, John Simpson, or a free agent we bring in.
And I'm actually second time that I actually agree with you here. Yes, because there's no one in the draft that really stands out to me in terms of the O-line. And again, if we want to start winning games, I think we've realized now how important the O-line is. And Aaron Glenn, I think, knows no matter who's at the quarterback position, they got to have protection. He needs to win games, and that's going to come behind that O-line. I know I talked a little bit about AVT on, my social media just briefly, and we might get into him a little here, but that's one name that I was thinking like you need to bring back. Absolutely. And to be honest, that O-line, you can never have enough depth, if that makes sense. So, and some of the people that are available are going to come a little bit on the cheaper side as well. And we realize when we sign like Josh Myers, you can get some of these guys for like 1 or 2 year type of deal. We don't need someone who's like absolutely so outstanding. We need someone who's going to be available and not get hurt. They're durable. And then just has overall good stats across the board. They don't need to be excelling. They can be average. And I think still put up or still allow us to get plays off and get the run game going, especially there with Breece Hall. So yeah, I'm going guard there too.
Hey, you said something real. Couldn't be more real. We don't need the greatest of all time. We need someone who will be there all the time, as much as possible. That is a position where, guys have dropped like flies. And last year we were abnormally healthy. We were the only team actually to have the same offensive line combination every week of the season. The only team. And
remember in the previous year, I think it was we had like 30 something different combinations.
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. We flipped. We went from worst to first. Worst to first. So yeah.
That was a positive about last season, I might add. That was a positive. It looked like this O-line was finally together. You can't find many positives from last year, but that was one of them. Something on the bright side.
Yeah, especially on that MetLife turf. I don't know what they was doing. When we stepped on it, when we went out there, I almost was in crutches the next week after. But the number 2 on my list, and I feel like now that we've got here, I feel like we have the same 2 positions at 1 and 2. I just don't know if it's the same order, but I feel like these are clearly the top 2 positions. Let me not actually say that, because if you don't,
No, hit me with it. Hit me
well,
with it.
number two. I mean, we traded Jermaine. Like it was a hole when we had Jermaine, and now that Jermaine is gone, it is a canyon. Come on now. I don't even like Will McDonald like that. We need multiple edge rushers. Like if they sign like 3 of them, I'm cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then still draft Arvell Reese, David Bailey, Reuben Bain Jr., one of those guys. We need some help. We need somebody, anybody. So I'm saying edge. If they get 2 of them, I'm hyped. And then we still drafting 1, because we need to fill out that. It's Will McDonald and nobody. And I don't even think Will is who a lot of Jets fans hope/think he is.
Yeah, and same here. And I feel like it doesn't hurt to have that rotational guy that just comes in for like those 3rd down type of plays to get the pressure there.
Definitely.
So we are right there.
Yeah.
And let me guess, is number 1 a QB?
Of course.
It's very clear that we are not. Well, let me say, we're not drafting a QB in the early rounds, I should say.
Ty Simpson is getting me nervous. Like, for real, like, he's getting me really nervous.
You think we're going to take him at 16?
I think it's possible. Like, I wouldn't be, like, shell-shocked. Like, I think it's possible. I think it's something that they've thought about. Like, I'm hearing, he obviously thought his interview with the Jets went well. I haven't heard anything to think that the Jets didn't think that it went well. I think, it is and they know like they need a quarterback, so I'm super nervous. I don't want him at all. You know that I'm ready for Arch. I'm looking at 2027. I literally, don't even care about, if Trinidad was in the pool, I might be caring a little bit, but no, forget about these people, 2027. But I'm afraid that the Jets, in terms of QB, they've never done what I wanted them to do. They got rid of Rodgers for no reason. They chose Cook over Martinez.
I'm with you there.
What, they, thought they could fix Justin Fields. Like, they've made the wrong decision 3 or 4 times now, right? I just gave 3 examples: Rodgers, Fields, and Cook over Martinez. So how can I expect them to make the right decision? I feel like they're going to draft Ty Simpson, and I'm going to hate it.
I just don't think they will. And especially too with Aaron Glenn calling the defense now, I really think that's going to be a lot of his main focus there. And, I'm not sure if Ty Simpson is going to be the guy for Frank Reich either. I think it's just too big of a risk, honestly. And it's funny that we got into it earlier this week about, Kyler Murray and whatnot, but people think, Kyler Murray is just this huge risk in terms of signing him, but not going the Ty Simpson route. That's not equally just as risky. I don't get it. And either way, at this point, we have seen how it's always worked out with the QB position. And you need multiple depth pieces there. So even if you have 1 through the draft, you still need to sign multiple guys in free agency. You're going to probably sign some guys to the practice squad. And I think it's very important for the Jets this year that you have QB competition, is what I'm going to say. Because you didn't have that last year. They just, what do you say? They just gave the keys to the kingdom to Justin Fields. And look how that kind of turned out. But yeah, don't remind me. I've been saying I wanted Aaron Rodgers back. They pushed him out of town, and look, he at least took that team to the playoffs. I never wanted Justin Fields. I could have told you that probably wasn't going to work out and that they overpaid him. Let me ask you, do you think Justin Fields is on the roster in 2026?
That's a great question. It briefly came up earlier this week when I was on Boy Green Meets Wudi. If I'm a betting man, like gun to my head, is he on the team or not? Week 1, I'm gonna have to say no. But I think it's possible. I really actually do think it's possible that he's still on the team. The fact that there's no change in his contract, whether we, cut him today, July, September, there's no change in the money. I think that's a big reason to keep him, right? Until there's, you have somebody to take his spot. But how many QBs are ready to, play for Frank Reich and, this terrible organization? I feel like our reputation right now is the worst it's ever been, which is crazy because it hasn't been great. And the outside looking in, they don't even realize that our offensive line, has top 10 potential this season. They don't even realize that, Brees is, he has top 10 potential. Garrett has top 10. Like, we actually have, units on the offense that are pretty solid. Obviously, we need, another receiver in there as well. But it's not a bad place for a QB, but I think our reputation precedes us. And I don't know how easy it will be to find somebody. And Fields is already here, so I think it is definitely possible that he's on the roster week 1.
Definitely possible. I think the other factor that needs to be considered here, though, is the fact that he hasn't been positive in his experience with the Jets. He has actually said things that I don't think he wants to be here. And I think that makes it different for things. I don't know why you would keep him here if Woody Johnson threw him under the bus, and so it's just and then his attitude kind of shifted after that. There's been instances of him avoiding the media and things like that. So I think that's one thing that makes me think he won't be on here, is simply because he doesn't want to be. And he even declined the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest, strangest thing to me. But
he said he said that he was working on his game. We'll see. Hey, maybe he found something. Probably not though. But yeah, I would. If it's up to me, I would definitely be doing my best to get rid of him. I would, to your point, I would probably get 2 veterans. I think the Giants did a really nice job of. They got 2 different types of veterans, and then they drafted Jackson Dart, and that room was complete. That was my favorite QB room in the NFL, and you clearly saw it work for Jackson Dart. He's been on record to praise both veterans for helping him learn the game and process the league in different ways. So I think that's something the Jets could do. Not that last part about drafting, a QB early like Dart, but to have 2 veterans in there, and then next year when you draft, whoever that is, you have that learning tree, because I think that's super important. And like you said, that I say, the competition, giving these boys keys, is almost never the way to do it. So, yeah, that's the list. The consensus, the TFT consensus: QB and edge, QB, edge, and guard, just like that. 1, 2, 3 are at the top of the list, and then cornerback, linebacker, safety, right? That's the TFT consensus. But like we said before, we got a new game to show you. Beep, beep. It is traffic jam. All right. No need for road rage. We just in a traffic jam. Come on now. It is the newest game on YouTube. We are here. And it's simple. Abby and I have both prepared. Right. We have our stoplights. Okay. We got our stoplights. We got red, right, yellow, we got green. So how we're going to play this game is very simple. We're going to say a name of a free agent. We're going to say, do we red light that option? Do we yellow light that option? Do we green light that option? We make our case as to why we feel like our light color choice is appropriate. And then the other one makes their case for their light color choice. We might see a lot of matches, knowing how we operate. We might not, you know what I'm saying? But that is the game. It is called Traffic Jam. And I will start off. The first name in Traffic Jam history is someone who I think is the greenest light in free agency this season. Actually, I'm lying. Not the greenest light. Not the greenest light. I'm lying. Let me take that back. Can I take it back?
Take it back.
Okay, thank you. God damn.
I kind of like the confidence a little bit.
No, because I can't lie. I put my my banners in the wrong order, so I was reading the wrong name. That name, yes, he is a green light, but the name I'm about to say, the very first name in Traffic Jam history, I am going with a different name. I'm going with, and he's still a green light, so I'm gonna put it up there. Someone who, when you are trying to install a system, right? You need somebody who's played in the system. I guess you don't need it, but it makes it way easier because now in between reps, this guy's giving advice. In the locker room, this guy's giving advice. Right? He's done it. He's succeeded before. So much so that the last time that he was with Frank Reich, he threw 27 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, and the Colts went 9-8 that year. Green light. Carson Wentz to the New York Jets. Now, does that mean he's QB1? Are we giving him the keys? I just said seconds ago to stop giving people keys, okay? Stop giving people keys. But to be in the room, to be somebody to help his peers learn a brand new system that they've never heard before from Frank Reich, this man is invaluable, and he's proven in the last 5 years that he can run the system at a high level. Green light, Mr. Carson Wentz, quarterback. He was on the Vikings last year.
There, I know. I saw across the banner now. I was like, who is he going to bring up as the first ever name? I'm like, what a hell of an intro. They should play that when Carson Wentz, if we sign him and he comes out to start.
That's my guy. No, but I had to, because there's some other green lights on here. But yeah, this is one that I do feel strong should be in the building. Just in the building.
And the thing is, we just talked about it too, about signing multiple veteran quarterbacks this year. And that is why, for me, Carson Wentz is also a green light.
Hey.
Now, I believe he underwent shoulder surgery recently, though. A little bit of a downer, but still a green light at the end of the day. It's a short-term option. And again, he's been in the system before, had success in the system before, and I think that means a lot. He's well respected around the league too. So played it with multiple different teams. So green light for me.
Hey, the first match in Traffic Jam history as well. Hit me with the player, hit me with the light.
All right. This player is also an obvious green light to me. Not sure if it will be to you, but we will find out. Played with AG, Aaron Glenn, for 3 years over in Detroit. And I just think it makes the most sense when you played in Aaron Glenn's type of defense. Very familiar with Aaron Glenn. I feel like we have been missing a veteran linebacker presence since CJ Mosley left. And we miss that. And I feel like this is a good option to potentially replace that. We need that leadership there. Again, this will probably be a 1 or 2 year type of deal for this player. But my name and the green light is Alex Anzalone.
When I was looking at my list, that was the name on my list. And I was like, yo, this is the greenest light. Literally shine bright. Bright like a diamond. You know what I'm talking about? greenest light possible for Alex Anzalone. This is one of the earliest calls they should make when legal tampering. It opens up at 12. Bro, 12:01. They should have already been on the phone for 1 minute. You know what I'm talking about? Like they, and it's even a bigger concept of what I just said about Kirk Cousins, how he knows Frank Reich's offense and scheme and can help guys. Anzalone has been playing with AG. Like he is going to help install the defense. He is a player that is going to help his peers learn this new defense, and he can still play. Carson, I know everybody afraid, if Carson's touching the field, but Anzalone can still play. He is a top dog, and we got 2 matches to start off the traffic jam history.
And just to piggyback some more, yes, this has always been, even before the tampering period, a green light for sure. This should be one of the first calls they're making. It's like one of the most obvious calls I think you should be making. And again, he's familiar with the culture that Aaron Glenn is trying to set in the Jets organization. So just wanted to chime in and throw some more out there. But second match, woohoo!
Yes. All right, our next name, our next light. This is a name that I've been hearing a lot. I just heard it again when I had a great time at the Danger Zone. We were talking about different positions to add. And, there's been a lot of talk about Tyler Linderbaum and, throwing him the bag. I can't lie. Linderbaum, that's an offensive line changer. He's like a guaranteed top 4 center. He's only missed 1 game in his career. But now if he, is somewhere else, right? Obviously everyone's throwing the bag at him. Like some different options. So the name that I've been hearing on different Jets content is Cade Mays, the center who just played for Carolina, and offering him a deal. He's a solid player. He is better than Josh Myers for sure. Like there's no doubt about it. And he's a better pass blocker than run blocker, but that's okay. Doesn't matter at this point. We just we need people blocking. But for me, I'm actually gonna have to go with a red light, and it's not about him because he is clearly, inarguably, an upgrade from Josh Myers, but Muji, for whatever reason, extended Josh Myers, right? Like he played this year. So I feel like Linderbaum is one story. Like if we sign Linderbaum, I was like, yo, Josh, like we're gonna have to send you to the bench. Like we got Tyler Linderbaum. But is Cade Mays a good enough reason to be like, okay, Josh, we sending you to the bench and, kind of, mess up the chemistry between the 5. We just said this 5 played together every single game this season. Are we going to just, impact the chemistry for a Cade Mays? And I'm gonna roll with nah. We should stop and not make that move.
I love all the points that you made, but simply because we expressed earlier the need for having someone at that position, I'm going to go with a yellow because he will be pretty low cost. Again, though, he's a strong backup. He's middle tier. He's mid. I hate to, whatever the kids are saying, mid. So that's why I'm giving him a yellow. Like
nice. Hey, first mismatch of traffic jam history. Cade Mays. Hey, you're a pioneer. The first ever mismatch in traffic jam history.
All righty.
Hit me with your next name.
All right. I'm like trying to pick a certain order. All right. Let's get this name out the way. It's another quarterback. His name has been talked about a lot for the New York Jets. He would be coming from Atlanta, and he was paid a boatload of money by Atlanta as well. I don't know how this player manages to get $1 million contracts and has really sometimes nothing to show for it. Very reliable passer. He is going to be guaranteed. He was guaranteed like 90 million from Atlanta. And so he would probably accept an offer kind of on the lower end or lower market average value. In 2025, he threw 10 TDs and 5 interceptions. He thrives in a Frank Reich system. So in case you guys don't know who I'm talking about good old Kirk Cousins. And I am going to yellow light Kirk Cousins. Are you a little shocked?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, my head did the,
We don't have that many options available. And the other green light for the New York Jets that I don't think will happen and that I got shamed for was Kyler Murray. So we're talking about 2 veterans, and those we already green lighted Carson Wentz, and the other one would be Kyler Murray in my book. But again, not very many options open. The other name that kind of comes up is Marcus Mariota. Not really interested in that there. So unfortunately, because of our options, that's why I'm yellow lighting him.
Wow. I can't lie. Like, if it's up to me, like, James Wudi, my, personal diary and thoughts, there's only one QB I would rather have than Kirk Cousins. And it's someone that, where, he's not on this list. It's Derek Carr. And the reason why for both of those guys that they are 1 and 2 on my list, one is because I think AG sucks. I don't think he's going to be the coach next year. So, I'm like thinking like, okay, new coach. And we're drafting a QB very early next year. So Kirk and Carr, they both are guys who can like play right now. They can, put up stats right now. But they're also super, just like naturally nice guys who will help their peers. We already saw Kirk Cousins did help, Penix, and helps him prepare for games and all that stuff. He's been a great supporter. So, Cousins, Carr, I put them in the same. The only reason why Carr is above Cousins is because he's younger and he didn't play last year. So he should be just more fresh. That is not to attack Kyler, because Kyler's clearly the best quarterback by far. But like if I'm Kyler's dad, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Go to the Vikings. Go to a good team. Don't go to that dumpster fire. And again, I'm still thinking of we're drafting a QB next year. Kyler's 27. It's very possible that his next team, he could be there for the next 8 years and ball out. Like, kind of like Drew Brees. He was a Charger, then went to the Saints and ball. His second stint was amazing. I think Kyler is, close to that path. So I think this next chapter will be fantastic. Now, I guess saying that, it's like, damn, why not be fantastic for the Jets? That's a good point. But I don't know. I just want to draft the QB next year. Right. Mm-hmm. So this is my green light. Kirk Cousins. If he wants to come down, I'm with it.
And another name kind of on the free agent market list is Malik Willis, of course. And you know what? I would be, again, there's not many options. So some of these people I'd be like okay with, but he hasn't started that many games. No. And to be honest, he's not going to come that cheap either. And that's what's the more red flag for me in terms of Malik Willis. It's funny you mentioned Kyler Murray and the Vikings. My co-host said that if Kyler Murray goes to the Vikings, he believes they will be Super Bowl contenders next year.
I mean, and that's a lot to say.
Hey,
yeah, that's
I mean, I could definitely see it though. But
yeah. I mean, the NFC is loaded. That's why, because you think about the Bears, the Bears Packers line, that would just be like the most loaded division in football. With Kyler Murray there. But definitely. They would be Super Bowl contenders. It's hard to argue that. because Kyler would just have that offense humming, and Brian Flores already always has that defense humming. So, yeah.
Now, one thing I want to, I know there's a lot of people who probably are concerned with Kirk Cousins. I do think Atlanta's O-line is like on paper a lot better than they actually are. I think
Definitely.
Bijan does a good job of bailing them out of a lot of scenarios. But I do like Kirk's ability to also, when he's getting pressure, to secure that football. I mean, let's not talk about that Justin Fields fumble where it just I literally lost my breath the whole time that was happening. It was like happening in slow motion with that type of fumble. So
yes.
I don't know. Maybe I'll do this.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
On Kirk Cousins, we'll do that. It's like yellow, but it's like green, but it's about to turn yellow.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely, like I said, high on him. I think he has a lot of value. That's somebody who I definitely would sign for more than a year. Like Tyler, I would do 1 year, prove that you're that guy, and then just set him free to whatever team falls in love with his season that he has with us. But Kirk, Carr, if you were to come, no, you gotta be 2 or more, bro, 2 or more, just to keep that mentorship. The next name I am going to say, we do have another quarterback, so might as well just get him out the way. This is the last quarterback on the list. Definitely very infamous, notorious. Everyone knows his name. They might not know his last name because instead of the correct pronunciation, they've said turn the ball over instead.
The infamous nickname.
Yes. I can't lie. I cannot lie. Between the injuries, right? Like, 1 hit away from like death. Like literally, that's not even like a joke, and then his play has deteriorated. I don't think he's ever been a good leader. Me being a fan of Brian Flores, Brian Flores lost his job because he didn't want Tua, and the ownership forced him to have Tua. And they had a really good team in Miami that he was building. He's since gone on and made the playoffs in every other stop that he's had. Tua has, he had success with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel took the exact opposite approach of Brian Flores. He said, I can unlock Tua. And where's Mike McDaniel now? Fired. 2 coaches, same result, different philosophies, fired. If I wanted, but here's the thing, right? Do I want AG fired? I don't. Like, I would have fired him, but at this point, right, he's the coach. I want him to win the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for him to win the Super Bowl. If I was still some hopeless hater, I would be like, I would be, hire Tua, sign Tua. No, I want what's best for the team. If, Woody believes that's AG, then I need AG to survive. Please stay away from Tua. Turn the ball over.
And you said everything perfectly. And it's not I know it sometimes comes off as a joke, but his ability to play in temperature that is 40 degrees or below, you're not coming up here to MetLife and doing that. And that is how half of the games are in like November going into December and even finishing up. Like, and you got opponents that you got to go to every single in one of usually it works out in a cold weather game. I'm talking about like Buffalo. I'm talking about the Patriots. And you already have had proven unsuccess there. I want him to stay. I want them to stay far away from Tua. Very injury prone, I might add to. And that actually very much scares me. I don't even think he's a fit with Frank Reich either. So absolute red.
Yeah, that might be the redding play. All right, hit us with the next.
All right. Let me pick up my little red flag here. Sorry. All right. The next name I'm going to throw out, he's a safety, and it's Jalen Thompson. He's 5'11", 190 pounds, was picked up 5th round in the 2019 draft by the Arizona Cardinals. Now, he's a very good tackler. And let me remind you, the Jets had 34 missed tackles in in the first 3 games last season. They had 10 alone in week 15 against the Dolphins. Now, to be honest, our safety room, to me, like I mentioned earlier when we were ranking the positional needs and what we want in free agency and what we want to be addressed, the safety room's a little weak. Andre Cisco is coming back from a season-ending injury. He tore his pec. That put him out for the rest of the season. I believe that was in week 8. I think Jalen Thompson's very versatile as well, kind of a hybrid player. He's durable. He can help stabilize the middle of the field. And it's funny, Wudi, some of these people I didn't give a light to right before, so I'm kind of just thinking about it on the spot. Oops, I muted myself there. But I am going to go ahead and give Jalen Thompson a yellow light. Simply because I don't know if I know I said all of those good things. He's great, but we also at the same time need some playmakers, and I'm not sure he's necessarily that. So that's why I'm going to give him a yellow light.
Damn, well, that last sentence is a title of my speech here. Jalen Thompson, fantastic safety. According to Spot Track, he is going to be the third highest, or he is the third highest value safety in the market, right? Spot Track has him at making close to $10 million this year. Only 3 safeties are valued at a higher salary, but my man's he got 1 interception in the last 2 seasons, and that it's not going to matter to his new team because his new team is competent, right? It doesn't, this dude's a great tackler. He's great against the run. He can play in coverage. So that's not going to matter. But for the Jets, a team that won a full season, the only season in NFL history without an interception, I need more, ball hawking ability out of that position. And I know I was just talking about Dylan Thieneman, but if they get a veteran, which we both agreed, right? It was 5th on our list. They need a veteran. That's where I want the veteran to succeed. Like, teach the raw athletes of Malachi and Thieneman, like, how to get in position for those, interceptions. So I would definitely want the veteran to have more playmaking ability than Jalen Thompson. But like, if they sign him, how can I be mad? Like, they signed a top safety to the team.
Exactly. And, I misspoke earlier too, because Andre Cisco, I believe, is only on a 1-year deal with the Jets.
Yes,
and
yes.
I don't think they're going to pick him up, especially with that pectoral injury. So if we need somewhat of a replacement, I mean, I'd be happy to have him. I just don't think he's going to be just this outstanding playmaker for us. Will he be? Again, I think he'll be efficient, and yes. I guess that's better than what we got right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, clearly it's an improvement to the room, but specifically to what we need. Like, I think there are other, playmakers at the position that I would probably, look at first. But again, if I get the notification, Jets signed Jalen Thompson, I'm not going to be mad.
I ain't going to be mad at it. Wow, we agree with the yellow.
Yes. Back to the match. Yeah, it's been a little bit. Actually, no, because we just matched on Tua. Yeah. So we've been.
That was an obvious match, though.
Was that obvious?
I feel like it was. Yeah.
All right. This might be less obvious. Because actually, no. You know what? All right. This is what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with another linebacker. Right, linebacker wasn't even on your list, so you might be like, "Yo, red light automatically." You know what I'm saying? But this dude, I've been hearing his name a whole lot. If you've seen my show with Boy Green, that Boy Green, he praying for this every night. He wants a reunion the second reunion with Demario Davis. He wants him to be a 3-time New York Jet. He's already been a 2-time Jet. He was solid, or he was actually really good the second stint, and then he left us, went to the Saints, and has been all pro, with the Saints, and is coming off a career year. That's the craziest part, because you can very easily say, "Oh, he's 37." No, but he literally just had the best year of his career at 37 right now. So it's a very interesting proposition. Me personally, at the linebacker position, I'm not high on Sherwood without Saleh. I don't know anything about, I couldn't be more unsure about Sherwood, so he maybe you might have
Deal
to
is
change it.
looking very sketch right now.
That's what I'm saying. Unsherwood.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure would be nice to know.
yes. Because right now we don't know. So, we definitely need leadership in there. And I need it for more than like 2 years. Like DeMar, like I understand he's producing at a high level, 37, but like how long will he be doing this at 39? Will he be doing this at 40? So I'm cool. I am cool with a reunion, but I would much rather have Anzalone. Obviously, we all said that was like, one of the greenest lights we had. And there's some other options, like even like Devin Lloyd, which would be way more expensive, but he's like, in his prime. There are a lot, they're just so many, Devin White. There are so many different linebackers that, I'm definitely not rushing to get Demario Davis on the line.
Yeah, you made several like excellent points there. Obviously familiar with I don't know if you mentioned that Davis was with AG from like 2018 to 2020, I believe.
Oh, I actually did not mention that, but that
Yeah.
is a very good point. Yes.
Simply because AG was a defensive assistant over there. And Davis has praised Aaron Glenn as well and his leadership abilities there. Again, the age, that 37. Oy. And I feel like I went like back. I go back and forth with this one because it's funny how the success happened after you left the Jets. He had like a all-pro year the year after he leaves the New York Jets. And I mean, the New York Jets let him walk for absolutely nothing too. I'm actually going to go ahead and give this a green light. It seems like you're kind of on the verge of green and yellow, to be honest. Like you just said all these positive things. And I feel like though you would be hyped if this was announced. You know what I mean?
I just, because at that position, like, we just lost CJ, right? Like, I'm trying to get someone for a few years. And that's, that just is such a, I mean, but who knows? Maybe he surprises me. Maybe he is 40 and still balling, so, I don't know if I would be, I would be like, here we go. But he is a good player.
Reunion. Yeah.
Yeah. And like that whole story of, how we had him, first time, second time, third time's a charm, type deal. Like
it just seems like there's no slowing down, really. There hasn't been that inkling that he's going to slow down. So that's why that adds to my point of the green light.
Damn. Well, yellow means slow down, so I'm bugging.
But I understood why you gave the yellow though, because it's a little concerning, and like you said, there's other linebackers that you want there more like long term. And I mentioned it earlier, we're missing someone like CJ Mosley who can be there for a while and really help this defense. Mosley, it's very obvious now that he's not there, like how much of a step back even more the defense has took and how vocal he was with the defense as well from all that experience too.
Big time. It's night and day.
All righty. So my turn next. All right. I'm just going to throw out the name first. Reek Woolen. Obviously coming from Seattle. 26 years old, has size and speed. Can thrive with some man coverage, which is obviously part of Aaron Glenn's scheme there. I think he'll be slightly on the cheaper side, maybe somewhere in between like an $8 to $15 million deal. However, the biggest downside with him is his inconsistency, not only between games, but between plays. And I think we all watched the Super Bowl, taunting, flag, then had a touchdown thrown on him right after, immediately play right after, touchdown right in the end zone. So for me, if we added him, he would be more of like a kind of a depth piece there. But some of me is also not sure with Aaron Glenn's scheme if he fits in 100% there. And it's weird that Seattle's just kind of not willing to. Again, he's still very young, and Seattle's willing to part with him. And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a yellow here, because obviously talented, of course, but I feel like it's like this.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, I
Damn,
don't.
that's crazy.
It's just the inconsistency, and we don't need that. We need someone to help stabilize this defense. And I'm not saying I wouldn't mind if they signed him. Clearly, very talented. And I'm sure Aaron Glenn would love to have him here. Very physical guy too. The inconsistency. If they could get that under control, I'd be fine. But I'm not sure I trust Aaron Glenn to necessarily do that. So I'll just go with the yellow though.
That's I'm the first guy to criticize Aaron Glenn. But for me, this is actually a green. This is go get him. Reek Williams' physical traits do not grow on trees. He's kind of like, I don't want to say like DK Metcalf, but like there are not peers that have his size and speed, like a DK. That's why I said, his name. But, what he needs, like you said, is consistency and, improvement of technique in certain situations, right? If you're a good coach, those things are coachable. You can coach somebody how to, prepare and become more consistent. You can coach somebody how to improve your technique. You cannot coach somebody how to grow taller, how to be faster, right? And that's, Reek is one of the fastest corners in the NFL walking the earth. So this is AG. Like, everyone, oh my God, did I hear, oh my God, he's going to make Sauce a superstar because he used to play the position. This is your chance to coach somebody who played your position and make them great.
Let me ask you, do you think money is the only reason why Seattle's willing to part with him then?
Yeah, they got a lot of people to re-sign. And I don't think it is a guarantee that they let him walk. They might re-sign him. I think of all the free, because they have so many free agents, the only free agent where I'm like, he's definitely not going back to Seattle is Kenneth Walker. And he's great. We're not saying, why are they he is fantastic. So I think with Reek, they just have a lot of people to sign. Josh Jobe also is a corner that, so they got two corners, safety. They have way too many people going. And, if Reek falls through the crack for them, one team's trash is another one's treasure.
Yeah, good point there.
So definitely, that's my green light. My next one is a name that we all know very well, because he's been a Jet for his whole career. We are talking about none other than our guy, Elijah Vera Tucker, affectionately known as AVT. I love AVT. I feel like that I've been on record, saying he can be all pro. He is he's amazing. He can play any position, all 5 positions of the offensive line, and be an all pro at any of them. But the best ability It's availability. It just is what it is. He's played 5 seasons in the NFL. 5 seasons. I'll have my fingers as a visual representation. 3 of them has ended in season-ending injury, and one of those, the injury occurred in training camp. Like, he didn't even play. He didn't even get to play week 1. That's obviously last year's injury. That is crazy. More than half your seasons ending in injury like that. Like, that's, bruh. I cannot, in good conscience, offer this dude 12 mil and be like, yo, we good.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's just too, like, he just doesn't play. Like, if he wants to take like a wild pay cut, which I don't think he will, because I think a team will offer him 12 million. But like, for us, what we trying to accomplish, what we kept saying, we need people that are gonna play. And he just has had severe difficulty playing. But we know when he does play, like, I'll say it right now, if he plays for this New York Jets team, he is the best alignment on the team. That's, I'm not questioning that, but is he going to play? That's a huge question. 3 out of 5. So I cannot in good faith be like, oh, just give him what he wants.
No, and Wudi, I totally get where you're coming from, honestly. And this green light, I guess, is all based on if he's willing to take a pay cut. And I also think they could do some sort of like incentivized base contract for him that might affect his opinion about wanting to come back to the Jets. But let me point out that I do think to some extent he has been hurt so much because of the amount of times they shifted him on that O-line. And I guess for some of me, I'm thinking that the Jets kind of owe him, because I think that has a lot to do with his injuries. He was center, he was guard, he was on the left side, he's on the right side. And, it didn't set up a good system there. But again, when healthy, he's one of the best O-linemen ever. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a green light. I had already kind of posted a video about him earlier. I think earlier this week I did, that if you don't want to re-sign him or anything, then you can get blocked or whatever I said.
Yeah. I was like, damn, I don't know if you're ready for what I have to say.
But you said nothing that I hadn't already considered myself. True. And it's all valid points. It's not like you're saying something completely outlandish here. Yeah. So, but definitely, it's very unfortunate. His injuries are just super unfortunate.
Absolutely wishing him the best, whether it's with us or somebody else. I mean, yeah, definitely unfortunate. And 2022, I feel like, every year just gets grouped into oh, we've been awful for 10, 15 years. But 2022, we were 7-3 or 6-3. I think we were 7-4 actually. The turning point of that season was AVT. I mean, we lost AVT and Brees in that Denver game, and that team that was 6-3 just only won one game the entire rest of the season. So he is
we thought we were going to playoffs that year. We thought that was the year.
But if they were both healthy, how were we not? It was we were a great team, but the run game never looked the same, and the protection was worse, way worse. So AVT, he is a difference maker, and again, I'm wishing him the best.
All righty. So my final name is also familiar with the New York Jets. This would potentially be his third stint. And I'm talking about kicker Nick Folk, 41 years old, also went to University of Arizona, I might add, and I got on my little Arizona hoodie today. You know what? In 2025, Nick Folk was sometimes the sole reason the New York Jets had a single point in those games. He was perfect with extra points. Pretty efficient, very efficient. With field goals, went 28 for 29, I believe. He plans to play in 2026, despite some of the rumors that were going around. Obviously was with the Jets for a long time before that, from about 2010 to 2016. He's accurate. He is clutch at times, I would say, and also just has a boatload of leadership experience. Let me see. I went back and forth with this one too. I am going to go ahead and give a yellow light. Sorry, a yellow light, simply because age is a real factor here. And let me remind you, there's tons of kickers right now in free agency that you could look at. Also, Nick Folk wasn't on this roster literally until the summer of, I think we got him in the summer last year.
Yes.
Yes. So I would be so enthusiastic to have him back. Again, he doesn't have signs that he is slowing down. And I do kind of want him to retire. I would like to see him retire as a New York Jet as well. But we've seen kickers. It's the young kickers that are just absolutely dominating. And like I said, it's one of the positions, it is like a need, but it's not the top need. And we're hoping we're scoring touchdowns next year. You know what I mean? We're hoping we don't have to rely on the field goal game. But again, I would love to have him back, but age, I'm going to give him a yellow here. That almost pains me to say that too.
Yeah, I can't lie. I am flabbergasted. You know, with the U of A, you know, like right, U of A, and then Jets. Like when we were actually good, right? That was our kicker. And then last year, he was really good. I have no complaints. For me, this is like a easy green. Like I'm like, yo, I don't see any reason like not to. And I under like age, but like Vinatieri was like 45. Like like kickers, they be kicking. They kick in their 40s. He's 40. I'm good with that. Like, yes, are there kickers? Like a lot of these young kickers, like Cam Little came in, right? He can kick 70 yards. Harrison Mevis, who was on our team when we signed.
That's the name I want to point out.
Yeah, he has a huge leg, right? He's kicking 60 yards. And yeah, maybe Folk isn't going to kick 65-yard field goals. But if like that's part of your game plan is that we, are kicking those types of field goals, then, we got to switch the game plan. He actually did set a new career high in distance with us this past year. I think he kicked his first ever 60-yard field goal. So he's got some juice in those legs. He's a fantastic player, like you said, leader. I also would love to see him retire a New York Jet. He said he wants to play again this year. Okay, well then, I guess you retire next year or the year after that. Whenever you want to play, keep playing. Mm-hmm. Nick, you want to talk about giving somebody the keys. I wish I had keys up here. Give him the keys to the kicker position, sure. Because, like you said, there's no signs of slowing down. There's a precedence, like a strong precedence of kickers still producing in their 40s. Matt Prater came off his couch to kick for the Bills when Tyler Bass was injured. And yeah, folk. And you said the game plan to be scoring touchdowns. I wouldn't hold my breath. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's been the plan every year. And Greg Zuerlein, everyone, all the kickers keep leading the team in points. So we're good at.
I feel like too, there's a part of me that's like jaded because of how good he was last year that I'm like, can he do it back to back years? I know he's had demonstrated success this whole time, but I'm like, what if next year it was like Zuerlein when we re-signed him, and I think I'm just traumatized a little. We re-signed him, and then he was terrible.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that little bit of jadedness comes up with me a little.
Yeah, no, I mean, Greg's, that's a perfect example because Zuerlein was a man, bro. I was about to name my next kid Zuerlein, you know what I'm saying? And then we re-signed him, and he was like one of the worst players on the team, on a bad team. So I understand that, and that's possible, right? People fall off a cliff, and when did they do it? In their 40s. So that makes complete sense. But I'm a trust Nick. He's
maybe
my guy.
You changed my mind now. I'm like, I feel like I was trying to not be like, obviously AVT was one I already knew. I was like,
great, yeah.
Yeah, but I was trying to be like again, I'm just so jaded.
Mm,
I
I
can't
hear it.
explain that enough. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, we can get all these players and still miss the playoffs again next year. I don't think we're going to the playoffs again next year. And the
Hell
over
no, we
under
don't.
right
Who's
now,
saying that?
the over
We're not
under
even
right
gonna
now
win
is
5 games.
5.5. That's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
over under is 5.5. I'm like, do we even do that? So I sometimes feel like those other aspects are like affecting my opinion, like because we have
Mm,
so many holes. Just because you bring in this one player from the defense doesn't mean everything's gonna like turn around. It's like we need multiple players at each defensive position, to be honest.
yes, definitely, yes. But kicker, that's one where we assume he's not going to get hurt. He might, right? Like I just said, Tyler Bass got hurt last year, but like this is kind of like a one guy fix, assuming that he doesn't have the Greg Zuerlein third year. So I'm very comfortable with this. I'm very comfortable with Traffic Jam. This was the debut of the game. I cannot lie; it took a little bit longer than that I was thinking to like go back, but a lot of fun, a lot of opinions, a lot of lights. All right,
Wait,
we are.
Wudi, I thought you were gonna do another name.
Was I? Oh, okay.
No,
My
no,
bad.
you're
My bad.
fine.
No, no, no. Hey, yo,
I
yo.
wanted to do it though. That's why.
Okay, I got names. I got names. All right, I got one last
One
name.
more name. One more
Yes,
name.
I got one last name, and this dude. Here's the thing about him, because remember I said it's actually really funny because we agreed that edge was the second highest position, but we didn't say no edge. So
That's why I was like, I wanted to do it because of the way we're ranking things earlier.
yes, okay, that makes sense. So this is an edge. He was the 20th pick of the 2020 draft by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you know anything about the Jaguars, y'all watching at home, they weren't good. They had the number one pick the very next year, which turned out to be Trevor Lawrence, and Urban Meyer was the coach, and he was doing wild things. He was very terrible. He was horrible. But then he goes to the Raiders. He has a career year with the Raiders. And remember, I just said he was horrible. So a career year for him was 5 sacks. All right. We ain't talking, something crazy. But then he goes to the Patriots. 3-4 defense under Mike Vrabel, who we all know is a fantastic coach who always has good defenses. And he has another career year. All right. So now he's coming off an 8-sack season. He was making, nice plays. He's only 27. And again, he is someone else who has the physical tools. That's why he was drafted so high. Was in a terrible organization, and we've already seen the change of scenery helped him out. And one of my favorite things to do is take players from the AFC East. All right, and like what were they talking about last year? What was the locker room like? So that aspect is a huge plus. His age, 27 years old, is a huge plus. The fact that he's had career years in the last 2 years, he's an ascending player, is a huge plus. And if you're someone like me who doesn't trust Will McDonald to become anything close to Nick Bosa whatsoever, then you need edges. So give me Kaylavon Chason, formerly from the New England Patriots. He is a green light. You could say yellow because, again, he is clearly a first-round bust, and maybe he got lucky the last 2 years, but that doesn't actually make sense to me, especially when you look at what Jacksonville was the 3 years that he was there. It was a dumpster fire, and unfortunately, he could not survive the fire. He's since gone on. He's been way better, and although the New York Jets are currently a dumpster fire, I think they do have some firemen in the locker room, like a Harrison Phillips. If they do get Anzalone, there are some guys in there where I think he, being in both situations, he was in a terrible situation in Jacksonville. He went to one of the best cultures in the entire NFL in Mike Vrabel's Patriots. He can look in the room and be like, wow, this is what's going on. This is how we can get to there. So I think off the field, he's valuable, but on the field, he's also a great ascending player.
And I'm going with the green light here as well. A very disruptive type of player. And you just mentioned the fireworks. I'm like, that's what I want to see on the field. And very good speed off of like the edge as well. You spoke to everything, 7.5 sacks last season. And the fact that we would get him from the Patriots, you just love to see a transaction like that. So he is very young too. The only thing is, I feel like he could sign a deal similar to something like Bryce Huff did, like a 3-year, 51 mil. So I'm not sure he would be as cheap as we potentially want him, but we got money to spend, and it's Woody Johnson's money anyway. So who cares?
Yes, it is Woody's. Spot Track has him as pretty cheap. Like, we got the top of the list is obviously Trey Hendrickson, and he's going for 25 mil. That's literally wild. But you scroll outside the top 10, and right above Leonard Floyd is Kaylavon Chason, and he's at 8.9 mil. So that I think that's a really, that's cheap for a guy who can end up getting a double-digit amount of sacks this season. So right. I think it's a solid bargain. And I did think about some of these more expensive names, but some of them, aren't really 3-4 edge guys. Some of them are old, like Trey Hendrickson is 31. So kudos to whoever is paying him 25 mil, but that's obviously a win now situation while we're trying to rebuild from scratch. I hope that when Kaylavon is 30, we've made the playoffs. That's what I'm hoping. But yeah, that is the traffic jam. We have now reached our destination after these minutes in traffic. I appreciate everybody, who's watching right now. Definitely let us know, in the comments. Hit us with some of the names we said and tell us your light. Is it a green light? Is it a yellow light? Is it red? Those are the only 3 options, so hit us with which one of those options you prefer. Of course, your free agency lists of positions. Let us know. But Abby, appreciate you fighting through the sickness to come on here, talk, and introduce this game to the masses.
I know it's crazy because I know on the East Coast it's still really like cold and it's bright and sunny here. That's why I'm like, I don't know how I managed to end up with like a cold. But no, it's always fun, Wudi, with you. Obviously missing Michael. But hoping he'll be back on soon. Obviously, speedy recovery, Michael, as well. Man, he's been through a lot. The Jets already put him through a lot. The Mets already put him through a lot. Like no breaks. I feel so bad.
Yeah. Oh my God, those teams. But yes, definitely our guy. Hopefully, the 3 of us will be on later this week because clearly, free agency is gonna, it happened tomorrow. It's tomorrow at noon. So maybe, you'll get a bonus like Wednesday or like Thursday, like bonus Thursday TFT episode or something like that, where the 3 of us will take flight and react to the news that happened earlier in the week.
Sounds good. You want me to leave the people how I always leave them?
Yo, 1 word, 4 letters.
1 word, 4 letters. JETS. Jets. You already know.